Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome into another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. For Bell the Bodysnatcher, he as always is Corey Walsh. Corey, before you say anything, your mic is muted still.
He's Dan Griffin. Why did it mute my mic still?
I have no idea.
This fucking duck from StreamYard.
It's just going to be one of those days, Corey. Over the pants hand jobs, dude.
30 seconds in.
Yeah, over the pants hand jobs. It's not good.
They
A metaphor for
like the
government.
I know. I want to actually explain it. It's like, why is over the pants hand jobs a metaphor for government? And it's like, well, it's because over the pants hand jobs suck.
Over the pants hand jobs, not just what Lauren Boebert gave to her side piece in a movie theater, or I'm sorry, not a movie theater, just a theater with kids inside, but it is the perfect metaphor for government.
Dan, pocket pool is bullshit unless you got a hole in your pocket.
It makes you feel just good enough for you to kind of let your guard down and feel wanted until it causes you to make a mess all over yourself that you then have to clean up.
Just heavy petting.
Yes, that's government. That's what it is. That was my attempt at a joke. Why don't you tell the people where they can find us?
Okay. Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com, and we can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
We're going to have to apologize ahead of time for Bell because he may be in and out. He's having some internet issues.
These happen. So I did a shot of some completely legal moonshine.
Oh.
And I wasn't feeling it. And then I did a second one. And now I think the first one's going straight to the brain. So I'm waiting for that second gear to kick in. So this is going to be fun.
You may just receive that over the pants hand job you were looking for. Obviously.
From myself.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
During the show.
Oh, Bell's fine. We're definitely going to talk about Lauren Boebert, but some other stuff we're going to get to tonight. We're going to talk. We're going to do a little update on the UAW strike. Not necessarily like what the newest offers are from the big three, but it's just kind of go over the tactics that the UAW is implementing. You and Bell both seem to be big fans of this. I am mostly a fan of this, but I'm going to try and play a little bit of devil's advocate just to make sure that we have a decent conversation regarding such things. We're going to talk about the new accusations against Russel Brand. We're not necessarily going to talk about the accusations themselves, but more the reaction to them and why our siloed media makes these things such a big issue. And then what else we got? Oh, the Governor Whitmer plotters, 3 of them acquitted, I think, was it Friday, I believe? And then
it might have been Monday.
Maybe it was some days in the past.
Actually, no, I think it was Friday because of the 15th. 15th is Friday, right?
Well, today's the 20th.
Yeah, 5 days ago. Tuesday, Monday.
Corey, you're
Sunday,
correct.
Saturday,
Friday.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then we start again. Ooh,
and
remember that song?
No, and I don't care. And then some completely some completely predictable corruption out of Ukraine that we could have called. But before any of that, let's give some love to Mitt Romney, Corey.
Yeah, so I don't know if we have like his little, because I think he was an actual speech, but Mitt Romney is the first one. The best thing Mitt Romney has ever done in his entire political career
was retire.
Admit that he's too old and retire.
This is fantastic because I remember. So you know how we have
his low. Wait. His low point was the 47% remark. when he said that he wasn't going to be able to get 47% of the voters, so there's no point in even going after him. And his high water mark is saying, "I'm stepping down, guys.
I'm stepping down." I realize,
and I don't give a shit. You know, he was a Democrat darling because you didn't like Trump.
Well, that's actually where I was going to go next here, because you know how we have like the last 3, maybe even 4. Let's see, 12, 16, 20, definitely 3 election cycles. How this is the most important election of our lives because democracy is at stake. Well, Mitt Romney ran for president in 2012, and then the Democrats were saying that then, and now all of a sudden, because he was against Trump, and now probably because he's stepping down, you're going to get some leftists that are like, that's a pretty cool move by Mitt Romney. But now all of a sudden, Mitt Romney's not a danger. Do you see how they continue to play these stupid games with us all the time?
Yeah,
they have all the blowhard sort of like lefty pundits. Even ones,
so there's an actual psychological
even
thing
ones we used to respect, or at least I used to respect. They have them again here going into 2024.
There's a psychological thing when you use certain words like disgusting and vile and different words like that attribute to like that gut reaction when you get like a nasty smell or when something's gross and you get that like gut wrenching thing where it's like, oh. And both sides do a thing where they try to do their damnedest to attribute individual people that are a part of politics to those words because they do a damn good job at getting people to associate that gut wrench feeling in their stomach with certain candidates. And yeah,
it works.
It works.
It absolutely works. And then once
where I was going with that was the original thing. Like, this is the most important election because those words are all tossed in there, and every single time they fearmonger and get people to get that pukey reflex in their stomach over people who they just don't agree with ideologically, and different opinions than yours are the absolute devil, Dan.
The thing that makes that so dumb is that statement is always fundamentally true. Yes, of course, the next election is the most important of our lifetime because it's the one that's going on now. So it's always going to be the most important election.
It is the most important because the one after that, it's far away, and the one that already happened, the score's chalked up.
Oh, I hate it. Whatever.
This is the most important election. Well, yeah, it is because there's no other elections.
We had to give a little credit to Mitt for being basically the only congressperson that's like, yeah, we're old.
Yeah. McConnell, Feinstein, Biden, Trump, Fetterman.
It might be too
all
late.
Of you guys take fucking notes.
It might be too late for.
Are we ableists now? Are we ageist, Dan?
Yeah, fine. When it comes to our Congress people and the people who are actually representing us in the free world, fine. I'm happy to be a fucking ageist.
Of all the ists to be,
sure, fine. I'll accept that.
Ageist is one that I think is still okay.
I will, of all the isms, I will take that one. I will be gladly. You can confirm it right here live. I am an ageist.
You tell all your friends Corey doesn't like 80-year-olds in office. Do it. I fucking dare you.
So yeah, which means you should be canceled. Anyway, shall we get into the UAW's guerrilla warfare? So the way I understand this, Corey, and you can probably set it up a little bit better than me, but I'll just give the little brief synopsis here. The way that the UAW is approaching this strike isn't by traditional means, which I kind of think makes sense because this is the first time that all 3 of the 3 major auto manufacturers have been on strike at the same time.
Yep.
Where a traditional strike would just be, okay, everybody walks off the line and we all go picket. That's not how the UAW is handling it this time. They're basically pulling pins and putting them on a map for which plants or production centers that they would like to close down, but they don't tell the big 3 what's coming. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, but I think you told me that they're actually trying to throw the big three off the scent by making them think that one production facility is shutting down and actually shutting down another production facility.
Yep. Yeah, no, they're going balls out, man. And you know me, like I'm in this weird, like when people ask me about my political stance on stuff, it's like, well, I'm fundamentally libertarian, but my values lie in like the class issues. And I guess that's interchangeable, but still. I love the idea that they are literally paralyzing these big corporations who have made billions and billions of dollars, who in fact have given their CEOs 40% pay bumps in the last 4 years. And then that the workers are just asking for the same. And it's interesting to me that CEOs, no one even blinks an eye when a CEO gets a 40% pay bump. But when the average Joe Schmo who works the line and literally busts his ass all day long asks for the same thing, and you go, you're asking for too much. There's a weird, I hate it because the words always escape me when I want to say them. And it's my methodological. But there's a weird excitement about the idea that the workers are finally like standing up and telling these guys to fuck off. You're getting this. It's our turn to get some scraps from the table. And so what they're essentially doing is, instead of just an all-out strike where they're just shutting all of the plants down, they're making the companies spend more money because they're trying to guess which plant is going to shut down. And I think it's almost like an olive branch of good faith that the workers are like, listen, no, we don't want to just not work. We want to work. We just want to get paid fair wages. And so instead of just kicking all of the workers off the workforce and telling them to stand on picket lines, they're just doing little sneak attacks from the outside on the actual big three and keeping them guessing. And then it's making them paralyzed because of the fact that they don't know where to ship product and ship resources to which plant to try to keep the business afloat, because the workers can strike at any plant at any time. And what this also does for the UAW, which is fucking genius, because right now the UAW is actually, so it's a union. So on our show, we talk about unions, but we also do talk about like the downfalls of unions and the things they do. Like public sector unions are fucking terrible. Like the teachers union, they spend all their money or a big portion of their union dues on endorsing different candidates in the political sphere.
Well, and let me also add that, to that point, Corey,
they protect bad teachers, they protect bad cops.
Not just that, but teachers unions and police unions, these people are allowed to lobby while they're getting paid. Like that's something that only public sector unions can do. Yeah. Private sector unions can't fucking do that.
Yeah,
shit.
Public sector unions are trash because the public sector unions protect bad teachers, which as a parent, I don't want my kids getting a bad teacher just because they're a part of a union, to where there should be better teachers in the schools. And then as an American free citizen who has no allegiance to any sort of politician or no allegiance to any sort of cop or any sort of authority figure, but only to the Constitution and we the people of the United States that are here to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, these unions protect bad cops. And that's in the public sector. But in the private sector, the UAW, what they have done is they have allocated their funds appropriately. And all of their funding right now that they have, that they could last 11 weeks if all of their workers went on strike right now. And we know that would absolutely cripple the big three.
Is that what you were going to say, Bill?
I was going to say that, I mean, they got a strike fund that has
an
enormous amount of money, and if they still have workers working,
that would fund $500 a week for all of their employees if they all went on strike right now for 11 weeks to really starve out the big three. But instead, they're striking in small little snippets to elongate that money to keep this strike going. And when they're doing that, it's keeping the big businesses guessing. And so they're trying to allocate and move things around. And all of a sudden, like, and the UAW is sitting there and just watching because they know they have them by the balls. And they're sitting there and they're watching and like, yeah, go ahead and shift everything to that plant because guess what? That plant's next.
That's the one that's shutting down. Yeah, it's kind of a brilliant move. I can see. I think I promised I was going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here, and I think I'm actually going to kind of go back on that because I don't really have anything negative.
Yeah,
because
at first you did say you're like this. That seems like dirty pool.
Well, and when I said that to you, I was like, I love it, but it also seems like dirty pool.
On this.
But let me chew on it a little bit.
Yeah.
And since I've chewed on it a little bit, it is kind of dirty pool, but you know, you can live with it because
they're playing with dirty pool. They're playing someone who's playing dirty pool, and they're finally giving that dirty pool that taste of medicine back to the person who does it originally. Because these guys, like 8 weeks or 12 weeks, or there was a pretty big number of like when they first started making their demands, and none of the big three were even coming to the table to talk about these demands, and they in fact had to file lawsuits with the government, which we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. The Biden administration as a whole is absolute trash, but they actually do have a decent NLRA board with its
greatest union president of all time. Corey, you didn't know that?
My 67
well,
Corvette.
He's not,
my 67 Corvette.
They're doing certain things that do help unions. Actually, that fits because that is something Biden would just randomly say, dude. So when the whole that's another thing too, was really funny. I was thinking about the other day is no one's really talking about it, but he was giving a speech about this, and he said something along the lines of nobody wants a strike. Say that again. Nobody wants a strike. And he was reading off a teleprompter. You could tell it because you can always tell when someone's reading a teleprompter because you see their eyes do that small scroll. It's a tiny shift, right?
Yeah.
But you know when someone's reading off a teleprompter. And I was cracking up because I don't think he was supposed to say out loud, say that again. And no one caught that. And I'm just like, am I the only one that like caught that? I just thought that was funny.
I mean, the establishment Democrats are just like, it's unbelievable how in denial they are about that stuff. It's like, I actually wonder how much of it is them ignoring it and pretending it doesn't exist, and how much they really just are able to tune it out and think that it actually isn't a thing. You know, that Biden is so unbelievably compromised.
Oh yeah, he's just a vessel.
I have no idea because they do a really really good job of faking it. So I don't think we've actually talked about the demands of the UAW so far. Obviously, you talked a little bit about how you have the big threes and the CEOs and the higher ups, getting whatever it was, a 30-40% pay increase. I don't remember exactly what the number is. I think it's 36%. Actually, yeah, it's right in front of me. So the UAW is asking for a 36% increase across a 4-year contract. Yeah, I'm going to read the whole thing. Across the 4-year contract. They also want the big three to reinstate an annual cost of living adjustment to account for inflation. They want to end wage tiers. The UAW wants the big three to eliminate the 2-tiered wage structure, which currently pays newer employees less than those hired before 2007, which kind of goes in sync with what the UPS strike was asking for. They argue that paying employees differently for doing the same work is unfair. Yeah, in theory, that's true. I think it's a little more nuanced than that, but it's neither here nor there. The third is defined benefit pension plans for all. The UAW is seeking to restore defined benefit pensions for all workers, including those hired after 2007. Currently, only workers hired before 2007 receive defined benefit pensions. And the fourth is, and this is the one where I go, okay, guys, let's chill out with this a little bit. A shorter work week, which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem. I think everybody should work a shorter week.
That's just a tough one.
The UAW wants 40 hours worth of pay for a 32-hour work week.
So that is the only one that I'm like, on because because if you're going to be paying these workers more, the company is going to expect the same amount of production, right? So like what that's ultimately going to do is like the company's going to have to create an influx to supplement that production with less workers on the floor. So that just means more automation. So that means less jobs.
Yeah. And it's like,
Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it does. I'm just
like you guys can get your 32 hours. Like if that's what you want and you guys
100%.
are all agreeing with it, then absolutely. Like if that's what
I think
you
everybody
want,
should have. I think everybody should have a 4-day work week. I think we work
like
too fucking
if
much.
that's what you're on, then absolutely. But automation is going to supplement that, and then the workers that are there are going to be able to get it. But what that's going to hurt ultimately is more workers being added to the workforce, because that's what we also ultimately want, because we don't want, as at Libservative, we don't want a welfare state. We want everyone to be able to work, their 40 hours on something that they love and get decent wages, get health care, and not have to rely on the government for shit.
Do you think it's a possibility, Corey? Because we all know that union negotiations or strike negotiations, whatever the hell you want to call them, they always require give and take from both the corporations and also the union. Like there's always give and take there. Do you think that that's the thing that was like the thing that we could get away, we could take out if you literally give us everything else we ask for?
Absolutely.
I think that's the one, because that's the one that everybody looks at and goes,
Trump, art of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want, you ask for double.
Right.
And then when they think they're negotiating, you're getting what you want in the first place.
Yeah.
That's no secret.
Not like what they tell you when you're doing a job interview. Whatever you think your salary should be, add 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe you'll get what you actually think it should be. So I have no issue with it. I love how when people go, it's only corporatists that say this, and this is actually kind of going back to your comment about being libertarian. You can definitely be, the more and more I look into like libertarian values, the more I realize you can absolutely be pro-union and be libertarian at the same time, because everybody thinks like,
I've made that argument for years.
Everybody thinks that you can't be, but here's the issue. I see this all the time. The layman conflates capitalism with corporatism. They're not the same thing. Like what the big three has accomplished and what they're doing, like that's corporatism. That's not capitalism. Especially when you go back to 2008, you talk about government bailouts, and you talk about the government being involved with corporations and vice versa. That's not capitalism. Capitalism is great. Capitalism works. Capitalism's fantastic. Corporatism is what we have.
Oligarchy, corporatism, crony capitalism is a good
That's
word
what this
for it.
is. I've stopped using the term crony capitalism because I don't like conflating what is great about capitalism, which is not a perfect system. I would never try and suggest that, but it is far and away the best we've ever had. Far and away the best we can hope for in a global market, for sure. But corporatism is what this is. Call it cronyism, call it corporatism. I try not to use crony capitalism anymore, but
so it's interesting, right? Because there's only a couple of voices, and like it goes to Rand Paul and people like that. Like the right calls, like any of the people on the right who actually support workers, they call it crony capitalism, but they attribute it to government overreach, which is true. Like, it's true. And then the left will call it monopoly, oligarchy, and things like that.
It's all the same thing.
But the words mean exactly the same thing. So like I don't get hung up on what people call it. But what we have now isn't a true form of capitalism, because it's this ridiculous mix of big corporation being in bed with the government, and it's like the worst mix. And you get all of these conservatives and all these Republicans are like, I can't believe that all these young kids want socialism and communism. And it's like, well, they're looking at the fucking phony capitalism you're offering them, and they go, well, this sucks.
Well, and
the only other alternatives is something like socialism.
And that's the thing that
so show them that capitalism can work, and they will shut the fuck up and be a part of the system.
Show them that what we're looking at is not capitalism. That's not what it is.
Yeah. If you're really that afraid of socialism, then work on a rebrand. Call out the shitty stuff. You can't sit there and be a stooge for the shitty capitalism we have in our country and then clutch your pearls whenever someone goes, there's got to be a better way. Socialism seems like it works.
Not shitty, but phony capitalism. It's corporatism being masqueraded as capitalism.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I saw a great great little metaphor for socialism, communism, and fascism. I thought it was great, like the way you can explain them to a child. So socialism is when you have two cows.
Oh, I love this. I saw this in seventh grade.
You have two cows. The government takes one and gives it to somebody else. Communism is when you have two cows. The government takes both and gives you back
shoots
milk.
shoots you.
Trying to be nice here. Takes both and gives you back milk. And fascism is when the government takes both cows and sells you back the milk.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
there is. I remember reading that in like 7th or 8th grade, where like the different factions of like how like a market system would work with like a command market system versus a actual like free market system.
I don't think they teach the free market one in school anymore.
I don't know. They do it in college. My team, like right now, I'm in macroeconomics. You know,
those
my teacher.
damn Marxist teachers.
Not in college.
Not in community college.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's interesting with community college, and then not even necessarily university. I guess it depends on the university.
Yeah, basically any university that doesn't need to use affirmative action won't teach that stuff. But all the big ones, all the elite ones that participate in affirmative action will teach that stuff. Like small universities like around here, like you think about like Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, like those little universities that everybody can get into, they don't need to worry about affirmative action because it's just like, we'll just take whoever applies.
Yeah, isn't that funny too how that works? Yeah. Like a community college is like, hey, you apply, we'll take you. And it's like,
we just want your cash.
Like all the different people of race, creed, religion, and culture, and no one gives them shit. But it's like the elite ones who only want the creme de la creme
of the best.
They have to go out of their way, I guess, to get someone of color. Because
shall we talk about the title topic tonight, Corey Walsh?
Yeah, let's do it.
Lauren Boebert giving an over-the-pants hand job. It's probably not actually what she was doing, but it's just funnier to envision it that way. To a Democrat.
Yep. A Democrat. I love it how that's how you worded it. That's exactly what it was.
In a crowded theater with children around. Not that many children, but children around. And the only thing, you know, as easy as fun.
Trying to get Beetlejuice at the Beetlejuice musical.
As fun and as easy as it is, I got to pull up this banner, Trashy Meemaws of Colorado, because
she is a grandma.
That is exactly what Lauren Boebert is. It's really easy to make fun of Lauren Boebert here, and trust me, we will do that. But I think the more important thing is just calling out. I love doing this. Calling out the absolute blatant hypocrisy of cultural conservatives. Like, I have my issues with cultural leftists and cultural Marxists and pretty much the entire establishment. But like cultural conservatives, they give you this weird I'm smarter than you along with their holier than thou thing that they like to do.
No. So I think you got that wrong. Because it's usually the liberals who are in the room not realizing how much of a pain in the ass they're being while they're explaining how much smarter they are than everyone. Conservatives usually come from the moral standpoint of like the nuclear family, Christian conservative values, this and that. Like they always have like this moral standpoint.
And it's the nose in the air, right? It's
the nose in the air.
Yeah.
No one can hate like a Christian, Dan. No one can hate more than a Christian.
That's absolutely right. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. There are certain factions of Islam that can hate to a pretty serious degree.
Oh, that's very true. I guess it depend on the year, because Christians also did the same shit where they were just murking Muslims and doing all that stuff.
What a motherfucker that was.
They just didn't have bombs. They had swords. But I promise you, if they had bombs and drones, they'd have been doing the same fucking thing. Just like our government does now. Hey.
So you actually have certain conservatives coming out and like apologizing for Lauren Boebert within this.
Oh, them simping for her.
And I'll give you the best example I've found so far, and I'll give credit where it's due. I was listening to Based Politics earlier today. Fantastic show with Hannah Cox and Brad Palumbo. Great political pundits that I really enjoy listening to. But they were talking about this earlier today, and they brought up, I would never have known if I hadn't been listening to this show. They brought up Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire, and they played a little clip of his. I don't have it with me. But essentially what Michael Knowles did was he said that he forgives Lauren Boebert. I'm paraphrasing. This isn't exactly what he said, but he forgives Lauren Boebert because she's on our team. Okay, he did say that. That's a direct quote. She's on our team, and when people apologize, we should mostly take their word for it, especially if they're on our team. Which Brad then responded by saying, okay, Michael, so you're telling me that if a gay man was in that same theater on that same night, rubbing his boyfriend's cock over his tight jeans,
what's his face,
and
Ruben,
apologize for it, you just forgive him?
Yeah, if it was Ruben,
Dave Rubin.
Dave Rubin, one of the gay right-wing political pundits.
Yeah, he's kind of come back around a little bit.
That's why, dude, it just makes it so much easier, like for someone like me, that after my whole Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard debacles, that humans, whether they're in a position of power, in a position of influence, don't hold them on any more sort of a pedestal than you would anybody else, because then it's so much easier to back away from them. It's so much fucking easier. And then, like, because
damn it, I got an itch.
People
get it.
Like,
not on my crotch, don't worry.
They throw all their cards, right? Or they throw their whole weight behind somebody because they're owning the fucking libs, like a Lauren Boebert, and all of a sudden now she's falling short and she's doing the exact same thing that you guys actually despise. But because you cashed in all your chips on this one person, now you have to all of a sudden scuttlebutt and scurry and like try to like do some weird goalpost movement to defend them.
Oh, it gets better. So Knowles also said that if Lauren Boebert is charged for this, which is a very outside possibility, because apparently she did.
There's nothing to be charged.
No,
for.
There is. She actually may have violated some local ordinances that actually
are hit her vape inside.
Nope, that are punishable by jail time. Something about lewd behavior, some conservative thing that we would never find in a liberal city. Something about lewd behavior. It's not going to happen. She's not going to be charged. Everybody relax. She just legally maybe could be. But so what Michael Knowles went and said was, if she's charged for this, we need to send cops into pride parades and drag shows.
Don't you love it when a conservative is all about expanding the power of the state?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Michael Knowles is a fucking idiot.
I remember when we first started our show and I was like not reaching out, but like looking for different outlets of media to try to find as many different opposing views as possible to try to keep myself grounded. And Ben Shapiro, sometimes like he's such a stiff and he's like really fucking annoying and he lies by omission,
right, though, you know,
things like that. But it's like it's listenable.
Yeah,
I think I listen like people like Charlie Kirk or Michael Knowles. Knowles, dude, they're just blowhards. They're fucking grifters, and I love when they fucking expose themselves when they say this shit. Because if this was AOC.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, if it was AOC, if AOC had done the exact same thing.
The young hot chick of the Democratic Party, the equivalent is a young hot Lauren Boebert.
Yeah.
Even though one's a grandma.
And one is significantly more attractive than the other. I'll let you be the judge.
I don't know. They're both pretty good looking.
I don't know, because Lauren Boebert in the face, she kind of looks like if like Margaret Thatcher and Gary Busey had a baby together. That's kind of what her face looks like. Gary Busey, like if you could transfer his face from after the motorcycle accident, not the actual genetics.
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying AOC is easier
she's
on the eyes.
definitely the more attractive of the two. I don't even think it's close. Yeah, Boebert's a little bit of a butterface. A little bit.
It's just we all know she's a she's a bit of a skank. So
Well, yeah,
it's
well
like-
now it's like, okay, Belle's the single one here. You taking it over the pants, HJ, from Lauren Boebert at a crowded theater?
Kids Chronic Theater for Beetlejuice.
He's I can't tell if he's laughing because I just called it an HJ.
A little
I'm laughing at all of it because
OTB HJ from LB.
not a Beetlejuice.
With a pregnant girl behind you bitching about you hitting your vape.
Even if she
Yeah,
reached
no.
in after you hit Lauren Boebert's vape. Smoking that good Colorado weed.
Yeah, no, I'm not a Beetlejuice, bud.
But okay, so but other places. Maybe at like the 7-Eleven parking lot inside of her 98 Miata.
Yeah, you know,
That's
is
what
it a
she
convertible?
drives. I think she drives a 98 Miata.
Is it a
No idea.
convertible?
Hardtop.
If it's a hardtop, no.
That's the line.
It has to be a
That's the
convertible.
line.
He's like,
It's
I
gotta be
need my
convertible.
convertible to match the circumcision that I got.
Everybody has to take pictures.
The hood is off.
No, I'm just
Now
kidding.
wait a minute. Okay, so let's go the other way. If it's AOC, would you take one at Beetlejuice?
Not a Beetlejuice, man.
Not at Beetlejuice. Okay, so Beetlejuice is off limits. All right,
What
we got
about in the
that.
bathroom where there's no cameras?
You're
And
not
you're-
in the
and you're
bathroom
standing on
getting
top
in
of a milk
over
crate.
the pants. And I'm on the milk crate though.
That's a belly short joke for those listening at home.
I'm short as hell. A milk crate would do it though. Yeah.
Forget
maybe.
the Miata. Substitute it with a
Maybe.
milk crate.
I mean, if you're gonna ask me right now who I'd prefer, it's definitely AOC. Are we doing this right now? Is this
Yeah,
what
next-
we're doing right now?
This is what our show has devolved to, and I think that's okay because that's basically what our politics is. It's at this point, it's basically just like indictments, over the pants hand jobs, and sexual abuse allegations. That's pretty much all American politics is anymore. So we might as well just go with the flow.
Hey, you guys remember Cawthorn?
Yeah, fantastic.
What
I
about
love
you,
it that he
Dan?
actually said there's a bunch of blow everywhere in Congress, and everyone's like, no, there isn't. And they found some in the White House.
You calling me out?
I'm saying Nancy Pelosi at Beetlejuice.
Not at Beetlejuice.
No,
Not
but he's
at
gonna grab
Beetlejuice.
that boob.
All right, I respect that.
He's gonna pretend he's reaching for a pamphlet and get a little graze.
Hold on. I lost my program.
Hey, hold on, I lost my program.
Shit. I'm leaving.
That was fun. You can get out of here, Belle. That's fine. Yeah, we made. I think we made good fun of Lauren Boebert, and we made good fun of the cultural
Hitting
conservative-
vapes, taking photos, and then to top it off, do you know who I am?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, she did. She pulled that. Well, that's the thing, right? Okay, so
That's what I would do if I was really rich or really popular and everyone knew who I was and I got caught doing some wacky shit. I'd be like, "Do you know who I am?"
well, if Lauren Boebert, okay, so
Because I don't.
If Lauren Boebert had just was just acting like this shameless slutty meemaw from Colorado Springs,
A gilf.
yeah, she's
What if she
she's
was
my
trying to
age.
hide in her vape
She's
smoke?
my age, and she has a grandkid.
Yeah, she's.
What if she was trying to hide in her vape smoke?
What, like blowing it into his fly? Like, where are you going with this?
like for the cameras? Like
Yeah. It's
like,
like it's like when Charlie Kelly steps in dog shit,
All
so
right,
he
grab
won't
it.
smell a skunk. He won't smell like skunk. So he doesn't want to smell like skunk, so he steps in dog shit, so people will think he smells like dog shit and not a skunk.
who does
Same.
that?
It's the
what
same
you're-
mentality.
What
Wait,
you're
who does
saying
that?
is like that Lauren Boebert.
Wait. Who'd you say does that?
Charlie, that's from Sunny.
Charlie Day.
Charlie Kelly. Charlie Day.
Oh,
Well,
he
his
doesn't
name's Charlie
wanna
Kelly in the show.
Yeah.
He doesn't
But-
want to smell like a skunk, so he steps in dog shit.
You think that's what
She doesn't
Lauren
want-
Boebert did by by rubbing off her side piece? So-
Yeah,
because-
rubbed him
because she
off
didn't
on
want
the pants. She's like, I don't want people to see this, so she just blew a bunch of smoke on it with her vape.
Or
it
it's just
wasn't
'cause
even this. It was over their pants.
Yeah,
Or
that's right,
it's
it was like this.
or it's because she just didn't want to smell like a skunk.
Oh my god! All right, I'm
That went everywhere. That was a brilliant conversation we just had. That might be our new low bar. That might have been the lowest we've ever gone.
Over the pants hand jobs. Thanks a
Mhm.
lot, conservatives.
Yeah, right? Yeah, thanks for giving us something to talk about.
It was the Republicans, the Christians that did it.
follow us.
Follow us.
and then his camera just cuts out. Oh my God. So I guess to move on to a little bit more of a serious topic, Russel Brand, if you've been living under a mushroom and haven't heard that there have been 4 women that have come out with, Alec, my dogs are going ape shit upstairs.
My dogs are barking, bro.
Yeah, they're going crazy. They don't want us talking about Russel Brand. Russel Brand, 4 women have come out with accusations of rape, sexual assault, and quote unquote emotional abuse. Sorry, I don't exactly know what that means. Between the years of 2006 and 2013, which is kind of when he was at his peak of like movie stardom, you know, the Forgetting Sarah Marshall and the
When he was all fucked up on drugs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think you're the one that started sharing the first whiffs of this whole thing with the group in our group chat. And when you first said it, like, oh, these people said this about Russell Brand from like 10 years ago. What was my response? I think, well, yeah, like completely. Like Russell Brand was absolutely insane.
Yeah, no one's
and then
surprised.
He went to a little bit of sobriety and stopped fucking with the drugs and stuff like that. And overall, when it comes to the claims themselves, nothing surprises me anymore when it comes to someone being accused of any sort of like shitty things that they may have done behind closed doors. So like, I'm waiting for the evidence. I'm waiting for all of that stuff, right? But what pisses me off about this is like in our country, and this is very, very important for everybody, innocent until proven guilty, until tried by a jury of your peers. And I don't like seeing companies like YouTube come out ahead of someone actually being able to go through the whole like judicial process. And then
I'll set that up by saying that YouTube pulled monetization from Russell Brand. Paramount Plus actually pulled his stand-up special. So that's not on Paramount Plus anymore.
Like what is this grandstanding of like trying to out virtue signal the next person?
It's fear, right? Because like this is the issue that we have, right? And I'm not saying Russell Brand is innocent of these things at all. I don't think Corey's saying that either. We have no fucking idea. We have absolutely no clue.
I believe it more than not.
Well, this is why these things are always so tough to talk about, especially when you're dealing with them years later. It's like, it's not that I'm saying these women are lying. I don't think that at all. But you could definitely see a scenario when so much time has gone by where the women could see it differently than Russell Brand sees it. Because obviously Russell Brand is coming out and he's saying, you know, this was, you know, yeah, I was promiscuous. I was doing drugs. I was fucking a lot of girls, but it was always, you know, it was always consensual. It doesn't mean that these women are lying. I'm not saying that at all. But like when you have these tough things and you have the aftermath of the Me Too movement, you have places like YouTube and Paramount Plus that are just pulling the trigger immediately, because it's like because they and I kind of understand why they look at it this way. They go, dude, if we don't do this now, we're the ones that are going to take the heat. You know, it's out of fear. It's nonsensical
because they have 8 lawyers in a boardroom going, yeah, the legalities of this, the fallout, you'll get less fallout if you nix them now than you would later.
Yeah, it's almost like so.
But it's scary. It's scary to think about, right?
Well, it's almost like I'm gonna give you a good comparison, a sports comparison, right? So in football now, you have instant.
Are you about to bring up Mel Tucker?
No.
I'm just kidding.
That's a Spartan joke. No, but in football now, particularly in the NFL, you have instant replay. So the better thing to do, if you think that a player may have been down, if you're a referee and you think that a player may have been down, but you're not quite sure, or it may have been a fumble, it may not have. The better thing to do if you're the official is to let that play just play out as it normally would, and you can go back and review the tape and reverse the play if you have to. That's kind of what I feel like these companies do with regards to these allegations. They let the play out, which is get him off of there. And then if it turns out that he's actually vindicated, well, now we can get him back on and continue business as usual. Because if we don't do that, we're the ones that are going to take the fallout. You know, how could you keep this rapist on your platform, even if that's not actually the truth? So
Right.
like normally I would be like, fuck you, YouTube, and fuck you, Paramount Plus. But like from a fallout and a
The legal
fear perspective,
corporatist standpoint, you get it.
I don't like it. I don't like it, but I get it at this point because we are at a place where
Because he's also on Rumble, and Rumble didn't pull him, did they?
no, but Rumble's right wing, Corey. You didn't know that?
Is it?
No, but that's what they all say. That's what they all say. And that's the thing is like, so the other side of this is the conservative reaction to it, which is immediately as soon as they heard it, oh my God, hashtag deep state, hashtag big pharma, they're going after Russell Brand. Like without even knowing what happened. They
It
just
is awfully
immediately
convenient
jump
when
on the
these come
defense.
out, and whenever something like this happens, it's always just this splatter shot, like large, just splash in your face of like, it's always like 4 or 5 people that were silent the whole time, but then all of a sudden all 4 came out at once.
Yes.
And that does have me kind of give a side eye, because whenever it's something that's legitimate that happens, when it's like someone more or less on like the left,
But Corey,
it's always one person that's
this is
completely
what makes it-
delegitimized.
this is what makes it so tough because you have instances where it was real. I mean, you have Cosby, you have
Mhm.
Larry Nassar.
Mhm.
I mean, Larry Nassar, 170 some odd
Hundreds.
victims.
Yeah.
One of which I actually knew personally. I had no idea until the allegations came out and he was ultimately taken down. So, these were all years and years later. So you can't just simply go. And I don't think you're doing this, but
No.
a lot of people are. You can't just simply go, well, why did I hate that argument. Why did she wait so long to say something? That one drives me up a fucking wall.
Yeah.
Because there are a million reasons why somebody would wait so long to say something.
Yeah, someone
it's
might
not
wait
that
for someone
simple.
else. But like what frustrates me with this is there's no criminal charges, not even being brought. This was just an expose.
Mhm.
They talked about this, that this stuff happened. No criminal
and
charges.
and how the New York Times picked it up and then threw it behind a paywall. How convenient is that?
Yeah, with just a nice catchy headline.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, like, again, I actually kind of understand. I don't agree with it because I try to think about these things a little bit longer, but I kind of understand why conservatives are immediately having that reaction, because this is the fallout from when you have a media that lies, mostly by omission, okay, but lies and loses your trust. And then you have a guy like Russel Brand who speaks truth to power, speaks out against big pharma, speaks out against corporate media. Now it's like, okay, it's awfully convenient that suddenly he's being accused of sexual assault. And again, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but you can put yourself in the mind state of somebody who is so pissed off at the establishment where they would just immediately jump to the defense of Russell
Right.
Brand.
And at the same time, you could also say that I highly doubt you would ever see something like this be thrown at someone like Camille Foster or a Matt Welch or even a Jimmy Dore. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting.
Those guys
that-
aren't as big as Russell Brand, though.
No,
The
they're
comparison,
not as
the
big.
comparison I would give is Joe Rogan.
Okay, or even Alex Jones. As crazy and batshit as Alex Jones is, there's never been a sexual assault charge thrown against him.
Not yet.
Yeah, no, yeah. He's too busy worried about these frogs that are fucking turning gay.
Yeah, yeah. It's dude, it's complicated, and for
It is.
people on both sides,
And it's
to, like,
believable with him.
Yeah.
Even if
it
he
is.
didn't, even like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the Louis C.K. thing. Like, you have a certain, or like Weinstein, like, well, they said, yeah. It's like, yeah, they did, but was there an implication
There's a
of
power dynamic. Yeah,
a
all
power
that stuff.
dynamic of who
Yeah.
you are and stuff like that? And so, like I said, nothing surprises me anymore. But it's frustrating to me that there isn't even any criminal charges, and we do live in a country that, I don't care who you are, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And it seems like some people are like getting ahead of the ball.
Yeah. Well, and the biggest defense for that, to play devil's
But if
advocate
there's
against,
evidence of this shit and he was doing anything like that, then yeah, 30 cents is a bullet,
well,
get rid of him.
the devil's advocate that I will play with the whole innocent until proven guilty thing. It's like, legally that's the case, but in the court of public opinion, that just ain't how it works. It just isn't. Unfortunately, it's not.
so
I view it
easy.
that way, and you view it that way, but not everybody views it that way. When you already have an opinion of Russel Brand, when you've been told by Rachel Maddow or whomever that he's now some right winger, which is absurd. You know it. I know it. Bell knows it.
Yeah,
I'm sure most
and
of
you
our
know what?
listening audience know it.
Flip the take one step over that line in the sand and look at Andrew Tate. All that evidence was against him, or that he was pulling off this shit, and then people were hardline defending him when the evidence was clear.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah,
I'm not comparing Russell Brand to Andrew Tate. I think they're two different beasts, and
completely different people.
yeah, but you understand what I'm saying. Like,
One of them is bright, the other one is not. You figure out which one's which. Maybe hold on. Maybe I should
Top G, brother.
Hold on. Maybe I shouldn't leave that open ended. It's Russell Brand. That's the one that's bright. It's not Andrew Tate.
Right, and like he had a character arc. I don't know.
And I mostly like what Russell Brand has to say. I mean, if he actually raped these women or whatever,
Then you write him off.
No,
right away, 100%.
It sucks, but does it mean that? Does it make what he says any less true? It doesn't.
Like,
does it?
oh, his actual messaging? No,
Yes.
but like they're gonna do their damnedest to make sure he doesn't say it anymore.
Oh yeah, well they're doing that anyway, and that's the whole conspiracy behind it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, they're coming out with this. They're coming out with these allegations because hashtag COVID and hashtag Big Pharma and hashtag Deep State. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this goes.
I saw a conspiracy that like he saw this coming, and so that's why he started being outspoken about these type of things. So,
Yeah, I
like,
saw
he
that
could use
too.
the scapegoat to where he could go, well, see why they're coming after me, when it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
well, were they gonna come after you regardless?
No, or he just grew up and realized that the establishment sucks, but also maybe sexually assaulted some people.
Well,
Hopefully not.
We also grew up and realized the establishment sucks, and we are nowhere near have the sphere of influence that Russell Brand does. But I don't see any rape allegations coming against us
Yet.
yet.
I don't know, Corey. I hope it's not true, but we'll see. We'll see where we are. Everybody chill the fuck out. Let's wait and see what happens.
Nothing's gonna happen. They're just gonna silence them and demonetize them, and there's not gonna be any criminal charges. And then he'll still be around 6 months from now. He'll still be around on Rumble, just not making as much money as he wanted.
Yeah, do you think it'll go away like if there isn't actually criminal charges filed and maybe these, assuming that it's not real, okay? I don't mean to like put a burden of proof on the women that are actually accusing him, but let's just assume for a second that it's not true. Do you think it'll go away like the Joe Rogan ivermectin thing did?
Or the Joe Rogan Edward thing did?
Or the Joe Rogan whatever thing did? Because he's just too big. And Russell Brand's up there. I mean, he's not quite as big as Joe, but I mean, he's up there within that realm of influence. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
The guy has so many more zeros behind like an actual number in his account than I ever will. So like I'm not worried about where he's gonna lay his head at night, I guess.
Yeah, he'll be all right. Regardless, even if he has to go away forever. Oh, little side topic, Corey. Because I feel like this is my 2023 prediction coming true, which was the beginning of the end of quote unquote wokeness, which is now a word that I hate using. Matt Walsh is going to be on Dancing with the Stars. He's going to be on a mainstream TV show, like a real big network TV show, dancing. I cannot, honestly. So I've never actually watched this show, and I can't fucking stand Matt Walsh, and that actually might get me to watch.
Yeah, and that
because
funny?
I can't wait to
might
see
too.
his rigid ass up there.
Dude, what if he's like?
He might be great.
Fucking yeah. What if he? If he is just a great dancer?
We find out one of like the weird hobbies that him and his wife have before they have sex once a year is they they do
the salsa,
or they're like great swing dancers. But that's it, right? So like, how is there no backlash to Matt Walsh being on Dancing with the Stars?
Right.
How is there nobody going? How can you platform this guy?
Remember when? And if you remember, Giuliani, I think, was on The Masked Singer or whatever.
I don't remember that, but okay.
Like when all this stuff was happening, I'm pretty sure Giuliani was like on The Masked Singer, like one of those things where they cover the face when they're dancing or something.
Yeah. I know the show, but I don't.
And there was a little bit of backlash. You saw people trying to throw up on social media, but like I feel like there wasn't that much.
How can we let this conservative pundit on Dancing with the Stars? But you know what it is? It's like advertisers are starting to realize, right? When you factor in the Bud Light thing, you factor everything that's happened in 2023, because my prediction is coming true. Advertisers are starting to realize that like they're leaving out a massive fucking market when you're talking about cultural conservatives.
Yeah, especially cable. Cable's dying, so you got to get as many people in as you want.
Bell popped in. He's got something to say.
Jumped in to say Giuliani was on The Masked Singer, and he made
was the Masked Singer.
Like when they revealed him. So remember, Ken Jeong, the actor?
Yeah.
He was a judge, and when they revealed it was Giuliani, he walked off the show.
Oh God. Of course.
Imagine just siloing yourself so much that something like that happens.
He had to virtue signal. Like, why? You're okay. So Ken Jeong, in that situation, I'm speaking directly to you, Ken Jeong. You're a comedian. Why in the hell would you not take advantage of that situation?
Oh, you can have so much more fun doing one-liners and
Come on.
punches. Like, come on. Yeah, exactly.
Nope,
like you'd have made way more of a stance doing that than you would just virtue signaling watching off the show.
Oh, I can't believe we platformed this man. Yeah. Anyway, so that was just my little side.
It's like when NPR had Richard Spencer on their show.
Oh, you can't do that. Can't platform people.
Like they had him on and they talked to him and they were just trying to like get an idea of what the fuck this doofus is about, which is something to talk about, right? Like Richard Spencer, it's weird. Like Richard Spencer. So if anyone who doesn't know, Richard Spencer was like one of the biggest leaders in the alt-right movement.
He was basically Trump's propaganda machine.
But worse than that, that guy was he was a white nationalist.
That's just it, right? So like if you want to say, I don't believe this, but there's a faction of folks on the left that say this. If you want to believe that Trump is actually literally Hitler, Richard Spencer was his Joseph Goebbels.
Yeah, he was. But now he's not. Like do you follow him on Twitter at all? Like,
no,
at least
should
not
I?
To admit to it? Dude, he's like, it's weird. Because now he's like completely disavowed any of that stuff. Like he's like talking shit about Trump, and like it looks like he's trying to remold his little like brand where he's like a little bit more of like the centrist, like leftist type person. It's weird. But like one of the videos I love of him the most is something that I share often is him getting punched in the face.
That's funny.
like I remember sharing this video of him getting punched in the face, and you just hear. And I'm proud to be an American. Yeah, no, he did his Milo moment, character arc.
Yeah, wow. Milo, wow. What happened to that guy?
What a wild time 2016 was, right?
Isn't Milo like a Christian now? Or like he's something. Yeah, he's not gay anymore.
Yeah. So it means he just went back in the closet. Like I don't know. Can you go back in the closet when you're out? I mean, yeah, I guess Milo.
I guess you can if you're Milo Yiannopoulos.
You do a little peek, close the door, get back inside, get back in that closet.
Yeah. So that was just my little side note. I find it interesting that Matt Walsh was going to be on Dancing with the Stars. It might actually make me watch. Not because I like Matt Walsh. He sucks. He's awful. But it might just be fun to watch. I don't know.
Just a guy with opinions, instead of very Simple statement. He just said Trump.
I just can't wait for. Hell yeah,
What about
brother.
him? Like, are you for him? You against him? Like,
Hell yeah, brother.
because
bless.
I've seen both people on the left and the right say Trump in all caps with an exclamation point.
Hell yeah, brother. God bless. Thoughts and prayers.
Or is it, Trump, it's the end of democracy?
Either way. You want to talk about the Whitmer plotters, or you want to talk about the defense ministry?
Oh, so the Whitmer plotters is a fun one.
I'm making you choose.
Oh, those are both good ones.
Flip a coin, Corey. All right, I'm gonna choose for you.
All right.
I'm gonna choose for you. Let's go with
I
the
was,
Whitmer
I was
plotters.
literally just see me. I looked for a coin. I'm like, where's my coins?
No, I don't want trashy Meemaws of Colorado up there. Where the fuck? There it is. I'm like, where did I put that banner? There it is. So 3 acquitted Friday in the plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Plot? Okay, I just spoke around in a circle there. What's interesting about this is that we've been following this basically since the beginning, and much like
I feel
January,
a little bit vindicated on this one.
well, and it's like much like January 6th. This is what happens when you get dumbasses involved with FBI informants. I mean, that's essentially what this entire thing is. These goofy, over the top, because I don't think all MAGA people are created equal, but the over the top MAGA people get involved with government informants. They get pulled into these plots, and they end up getting arrested. And it's basically just the FBI playing the fucking Benny Hill theme, running after each other in and out of doors and never actually catching anyone. Did I get that about right, Corey?
Yes.
Years ago,
So the alleged Governor Whitmer kidnappers were found not guilty by a jury of their peers for different reasons. Here are some of the possible explanations based on news reports. So this right here, actually, I want to give a little tidbit to one of our listeners. So that GPT is great, but sometimes ChatGPT gets things wrong. To whereas, like, it was talking about Governor Whitmer's, like, I spent like 45 minutes looking for this quote because it attributed to Governor Whitmer the quote, "I am disturbed by the revelations of some of the FBI informants and agents that had played active roles in planning and encouraging the plot.
No, we said that from the beginning. Like, Whitmer should be pissed.
I am concerned that their actions may have crossed the line of entrapment and violated the constitutional rights of these defendants." And ChatGPT kept prompting that came from Whitmer. And I had to come from it from a million different angles and keep prompting ChatGPT more and more to say this. And it was actually a quote by Scott Graham, which was the attorney for one of the defendants. But when I saw that, I was like, what? And it was like, oh, she said this on September 15th, 2023 in a press release. And then and this is how conspiracy theories start, right? Because then I go to Whitmer's page and she has press releases from September 14th to September 17th. And it kept telling me that the press release there was a link to it in the article from Washington Post that this was referring to. And I'm scouring the page looking for this shit. And I'm looking all over for it. And I'm like, did she fucking delete it? Like, is this seriously like a lid that we're about to lift off something and blow? And I kept looking. And it was actually it was one of the lawyers that said it. But ChatGPT attributed that to her. So yeah, interesting, because ChatGPT is pretty spot on with a lot of things, but sometimes it does fall short. So I want to let all of our listeners know that if you're using ChatGPT, always click the links that it gives you for a source of where they're getting the information from, because it might just be fucking up. With all that said, Eric Molitor and brothers William Null and Michael Null were charged with providing support for a terrorist act and a weapons charge in state court. They were accused of scouting Whitmer's vacation home for other members of a right-wing militia who planned to abduct her. However, they testified that they did not agree with the kidnapping plot and that they only participated in gun drills and raids to check Whitmer's property. Their lawyers argued that they did nothing wrong and that the prosecution failed to prove their involvement in the conspiracy. The jury apparently agreed with them and acquitted them of both their charges. Adam Fox, Barry Croft, Daniel Harris, and Brandon Caserta were charged with kidnapping conspiracy in federal court. They faced up to a life in prison if convicted. Prosecutors said they were the ringleaders of a plot and that they had evidence from recordings, text messages, social media, and co-conspirators who pleaded guilty and testified against them. However, defense attorneys claimed that federal law enforcement manufactured the alleged kidnapping conspiracy through confidential informants and undercover agents. They also challenged the credibility of the co-conspirators who testified, saying that they had motives to lie in exchange for leniency. The jury found Harris and Caserta not guilty of kidnapping conspiracy, but could not reach a verdict for Fox and Croft. A mistrial was declared for those two defendants, meaning they could face a retrial in the future. So, of the 12 people who were originally charged with trying to kidnap the governor, over half of them, the ones who did not just plead guilty to try to find leniency and flip on everyone else, are being mistrials and being found straight up innocent because the FBI had informants all up in the guts of this whole thing.
And Corey, you and I listened to a podcast called Alphabet Boys. Great podcast. It's all based off of FOIA'd information. And what has there been, 2 seasons now? The first season was all about the FBI and informants essentially stepping on each other's toes, if I remember that correctly, right?
Oh, so you're talking about Alphabet Boys?
Yes.
So the first season was about just the FBI. The second season was about the FBI, CIA, DEA, and ATF.
And all stepping on each other. All the 3-letter agencies stepping on each other. But we've seen, and like, this is a podcast done with all FOIA'd information. Like, it's all public stuff. This isn't hard to find. And it's just, that's just a small section of more proof that we're starting to see in cases like this, where whether it's the FBI, if you go outside the country, you talk about the CIA, you talk about any of the 3-letter agencies, they're constantly stepping on each other. They're constantly pitting their own informants against each other and essentially starting schemes themselves. And I'm not necessarily saying that the FBI is intentionally trying to start a kidnapping plot against Whitmer. I just think that they're so incompetent that they don't even realize how many informants they have involved at the same time. Now, I know what you're going to say.
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Because the FBI needs to find relevancy in uncovering these exact plots to justify the exorbitant amount of budgetary spending that they get.
Right. If I can interject, I agree with you. I agree with you that they need to find relevancy.
$650 million on informants alone.
Right. So I'll agree with you that they need to find relevancy. But again, what do we always say, Corey? Don't chalk anything up to nefariousness that can easily be explained by stupidity.
Yeah, they like to spit in the air, and they literally if you look at all these people that they've been busting and stuff like that, they literally just find people with mental deficiencies.
Yes. Idiots.
And push them in that direction.
They find
where
idiots
this person
and
wouldn't have known their ass from the hole in the ground in the first place. And they did it's almost like what came first, the chicken or the egg, to where you have a bunch of fucking idiots out there that might maybe want to do something, but it's just smoke that they're blowing because they have no access to the means, the logistics, the assets, the products, the planning, or anything to actually make these things come to fruition. But then the FBI shows up and they're like, oh, well, yeah, that's what we do.
Oh, yeah.
And then they get them right to the line where they do it. And then they bust in the door on some fucking doofus who has the IQ equivalent to where water freezes at Fahrenheit. And then they go, look at us. We're the heroes, where this person would have just been sitting there, fingering their asshole, minding their own business in the first place.
Or giving themselves an over-the-pants hand job.
Yeah.
All day long.
Exactly.
In some cases, literally. Yeah,
and it's just frustrating because, look at Mike Epps or Ray Epps. I'm sorry, Ray Epps.
Yeah. Well, isn't that what's so interesting too? Because from a political perspective, you'll have people that say if anybody that these dirty cultural Marxists want to come out with defund the police, and then out of the other side of their mouths they want to shit all over the FBI, right? So it's as they should shit all over.
Well, so that's a good question. Should the police be like, in regards to like a free market system where we talk about the economy, right?
Should be privatized.
Not privatized, but as decentralized as possible. That our government should be decentralized as possible. Our market system should be decentralized as possible. Should police be as decentralized as possible? To where if there is corruption in a small town where some chicanery is going on, sure. That's not, it may only affect 1,000 people versus 300 million people.
Yeah, it's something I kind of go back and forth on. Was like, should you just completely abolish the FBI? Honestly, if like a president, whoever it is, came out tomorrow and said we're getting rid of the FBI, believe me, I'm not going to be up in arms throwing a fit about it. I don't know that that's the way I would handle it. What I would do is remarkably defund it and definitely take away a lot of their jurisdictional powers, right?
Like, yeah. Like if I became president tomorrow, I'd be like, oh, okay, so you guys spent $650 million on informants in the last 10 years. Okay, that breaks down to $6.5 million a year. Guess what? Your budget's cut by $6.5 million. Because they use informants and things like that as a loophole to get around the very Constitution that is supposed to protect our rights, right?
Right, it's entrapment.
Just the guy that Penny goes, try that in a small town. But like, no, like the government, if they want to send in an official FBI agent into your house and gather any sort of evidence from your household, they need to get a warrant.
They still need a warrant. Yep.
But if they send a bad faith actor in who's an informant who's pretending to be your friend and you invite him into your house and he takes pictures of stuff in your house, that's admissible evidence. In some weird fucking way, almost like, you know how like it goes back to vampires, like into the 14th century, where it's like a vampire can't come in your home unless you invite them in. Like
or unless you give it an over the pants hand job.
If you give, is that in lore? Is that in the old vampire lore? Like it
totally is. That's how
was
it comes.
Was Dracula into OTP HJs? Was he? I don't remember reading that one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. I'm okay. Defund the FBI.
Yes, please.
That's the moral of the story. Defund the FBI.
They'll never be a defund the FBI movement. The left activist base is motivated by animosity towards state and local PDs. FBI is off limits, or else their federal funding gets cut off. Leftist activists, NGOs are all funded by wealthy benefactors with deep establishment connected.
Yeah, but it works the other way too, because the right wants to sit there and fly their thin blue line flags for their local police departments, but then they want to shit all over the FBI.
Yeah. So for example, look up Columbus, Ohio right now. Look up Columbus, Ohio. Like, just a guy with opinions. Look up Columbus, Ohio, PD, 11-year-old, and then look up pedophile.
Oh,
and what you'll find is right now in Columbus, Ohio, the local police department is investigating themselves, quotations, because this man who had an 11-year-old daughter had some grown man grooming her and manipulating her to send him photos, of herself in lewd
And they were
positions.
threatening to charge the little girl.
And
with
when he
porn.
called the police at 6 p.m., they didn't show up till midnight. And when they finally showed up, he's like, yeah, well, my 11-year-old daughter's asleep, obviously. And he was, I just need you guys to talk to her, to explain to her like how this is bad, and I need you guys to like look into this guy or whatever. And those police, I shit you not, the first words out of their mouth, well, if she's distributing porn, she could be charged.
Yeah.
And he's like, she's 11.
Yeah.
She's 11. She's been being manipulated by an adult. And they're like, well, she could be charged for distributing child porn.
Yeah.
And he just goes, all right, get off my porch. Have a good day. And he shuts the door. And like, it's just like the corruption goes from top to bottom. But if the corruption at the lower levels, for me, I guess, is if it's decentralized as possible, like it's almost like a utilitarian,
makes it easier,
altruistic type thing, to where it's like it's not as affecting as many people.
You want to get to one more topic here, Corey?
Yeah, sure. We can get to one more topic. Why not, Dan? What do you want to get to?
If we get this last one, we might have literally talked about everything we planned on talking about tonight. Corruption in Ukraine. We can save the ACLU thing for next week.
So there's a couple things that, like, when you talk about it for months and people side eye you and kind of call you a tinfoil hat guy and they call you a little crazy, and you're sitting there and you're trying to show them all the facts that back up your opinion, and they just completely disavow it and call you a Russian stooge.
Those are
things.
those are left wing / right wing talking points.
So when I first
side
started
you
bringing
tend to
up
fall on.
people in the friend circles that the Whitmer kidnapping plot was definitely heavy involvement of the FBI. I was called a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, and now we're seeing that that's coming to fruition. And now, when Ukraine was first coming out, and we were talking about how Ukraine was a corrupt ass country, and that before the Ukraine war with Russia, all of the European countries in America were telling Ukraine that there's no way in hell they're joining the EU or NATO because they're too corrupt. But then all of a sudden, because Russia worse, that they were actually allowing it. And we were saying things like, but there is no money, or there's no accountability for this money being sent over there. And we'd make the jokes like, yeah, we need to keep sending money because Ukraine needs 30% of the weapons we're sending them. And we were called Russian stooges.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
What's his face? Zelensky.
He
And
fired
everyone
his,
over there.
he fired 7 defense ministry officials amid corruption allegations. The government has been actively investigating allegations of corruption, including the purchasing of equipment. So the way I'll set this up is simply, as it says in our lower third banner there, where have we seen this before? Okay, this is what people like Dave Smith,
Afghanistan.
this is what people like Jimmy Dore, this is like the truth to power people, whether you're talking about conservatives, libertarians, or actual leftists, not the phony ones that we see on TV, the actual ones. This is what they are all talking about. Look at what happened in Afghanistan. We're there for 20 years. It's taken over by kleptocrats. We have a bunch of machinery, weaponry, money goes completely unaccounted for. The same thing happened to a little bit of a lesser degree in Iraq, and the same thing is happening in Ukraine. This is what happens when we fund these wars.
You could go back to the Vietnam War. The same shit was happening then.
There's just money that we don't know where it goes, and it always ends up being a kleptocratic regime taking the money that we're giving them to quote unquote fight off the bad guys. It's the Dave Smith line from the beginning of his podcast in his little intro. He has a line during the little music intro where he says, if you're wondering who America's next enemy is, look at who we're funding right now. I think that is an absolutely brilliant line that has come to fruition so many times in the past. Go back to, I mean, as far as like, I was going to say Mujahideen, the Mujahideen, yes.
The Mujahideen, yeah.
Which then became Al-Qaeda, which then became ISIS.
Which then became our enemy.
Yes. So I thought.
Where do you think they got all those weapons they're fighting us with?
Well, not anymore, Corey. You got out of there. The one good thing Joe Biden actually did, getting us the fuck out of Afghanistan.
Yeah, that is one of the good things he did. Like, fuck all the optics. Like, cut that loss. Just fucking get out of there.
Well, yeah, it's like you.
But at the same time, he needed to free up all that funding to turn around and send it to Ukraine.
Yeah, so it's not like it was done in good faith.
He's like, I want my own proxy war. What do you mean? Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's no joke. Nobody thinks it's a joke.
No one thinks it's a joke, Biden. So the corruption in the Ukraine Defense Ministry is a serious issue that has been exposed by several investigators and media reports. According to the news search results, the corruption scandal involved the Defense Ministry's procurement of military jackets at 3 times their cost. The former Defense Minister, Alexei Reznikov, denied the allegations but resigned earlier this month. The new Defense Minister, Rustem Umerov, fired all 6 deputy defense ministers and the state secretary of the Ministry of Defense on Monday without giving a clear reason for their dismissals. Some analysts say that this is a sign of Umerov's, I don't know, it's probably U because it's Ukrainian.
I think it's Umerov.
Attempt to clean house and show that Ukraine is taking a hint of corruption or mismanagement seriously. The reshuffling of the department also comes at a critical time. Yeah, is it we're taking this seriously or my hands got caught in the cookie jar?
Scapegoat.
The reshuffling of the department also comes at a critical time as President Vladimir Zelensky travels to the United Nations in Washington to seek support and aid for Ukraine's war effort against Russia.
That's just
Ukraine's
it, right? So see, it's not the same as Afghanistan 1, Afghanistan 2, or Iraq. They did something about it. They nipped it in the bud, Corey.
Thank God.
Oh, jeez. Thank God for that. Where's
Only
all the
2
money
years
going?
later. The reshuffling of the department also comes at a critical time when Vladimir Zelensky travels to the United Nations in Washington to seek support and aid for Ukraine's war effort against Russia. Ukraine's backers in the United States and Europe have been pressuring Kiev for years to deal with the systematic graft and bolster the rule of law, especially as a condition for Ukraine's invitation into Western institutions. The problem of corruption, however, has not been fully resolved, and many undermine Ukraine's reputation and credibility as it relies on the uninterrupted Western aid and as it continues to make the case that it belongs in institutions like the EU and NATO. And it's interesting, right? Because when you read it like that, no wonder why a lot of people are all of a sudden pushing for Ukraine and to join NATO and EU, because they see it as a money laundering scheme. That's a tinfoil hat thing, right? Like, that's why, again, I say we need to have tinfoil hats on the standby, because that's just me being conspiratorial. No factual evidence to anything of that, but
It's an interesting thought.
it's a money laundering.
I don't really have any more to say on this because it's just like so unsurprising.
Right. Yeah. And I just wanted to bring this up. Like, yeah, it is. It's very unsurprising to us because we follow this. But between this and the Whitmer thing, I just feel like I'm dashboard confessional over here going, I'm vindicated.
It's all about you, Corey. It's all about you.
Yeah. Because, of all the things that I love the most, it's being fucking right. And boobs. I like boobs.
We're like never right, especially Nancy Pelosi's. Oh, wait, that's me.
Yeah, you like Nancy Pelosi.
You're more of like a Colorado Meemaw titty kind of guy.
Yeah, not a California Meemaw.
A great Meemaw. Mimi Meemaw.
Mimi Mama.
We lost Bell. Bell's gone.
Bell's gone.
He's still alive. He's just no longer on the stream. He put a bunch of stuff in the private chat. Is there anything of relevance here? 2.3 trillion missing in the Pentagon is what Bell put in the chat about 5 minutes ago.
How convenient. Yeah, I mean, they're always coming up short on their money.
Yeah, aren't they always just like missing like a third of their budget, just all the time?
Yeah,
I don't know where it is. I don't know what happened.
It's going to those Jewish space lasers, Dan.
And then he asked if we saw some dumb fucking idiot in the comments. I'm not sure which person he was talking about, so we won't,
I think that was supposed to be. I think that comment was supposed to stay a private comment.
I know it was, but I decided I'd throw it out there anyway. One of you apparently is a fucking idiot,
according to Bodysnatcher.
We won't say who. Bell's back.
Kind of.
White screen. He just texted us.
Libservative Podcast is found on all social media podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
Subscribe yesterday. And
I don't know if you can do that. You always say that.
I know, because that's when people should subscribe, is yesterday. Anyway, Bell the Bodysnatcher on the ones and twos. He, as always, is Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
This has been Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. And until next time, make sure you check out them Boebert titties. We are out of here.